Hello, M2XUW, and Cowboy Dang. No, you were not first, Panthera. Yeah, I've got a few hours before I think probably the girls wake up. And it's off to the beach. Got a little bit of a headache though, so see how I do. Really want to make some headway though on training the AI. Oops. Cowboy Dang. I must apologize for missing yesterday night's stream. I am ashamed. It's okay, it was a lot calmer. Sort of. If it's an Indian wedding, then I'm sure you can steal away pretty easily without being noticed because there's probably 100 gazillion people there. All right, CSR. Okay. Well, nothing super exciting is going to happen, Kukumaru, beyond the usual coding. Let's see. Actually, I just opened it up. It was the tribal stuff. But yeah, I'll take a look at it. Because some of it can be used. Some of it would be a bit too complicated from a code perspective. But I can talk to you more about it in detail later. Okay, so I did a little more work on it this morning. Didn't have that much time, but I also fixed a few bugs in the code. Sometimes you have to look at your code with a clear head after you've got some distance from it. Okay, thanks, Kukumaru. All right, so what we're gonna do? Can you get the source code for M&T somewhere? Yeah, all of it's open source, right? So most of the pop stuff is here. Anything with pop next to it is most of the pop oriented stuff. Or you could just download it. You can get it from the forum. If someone wants to put up a link to the download, that would be nice. So right here we need to choose what demand is most important. And so there's three competing demands. There's the Corvée labor serf conditions, and then there is the emergency taxes. And so we have to figure out which one is the highest. And then that one will then set its weight to the total privilege demand weight. Emergency taxes weight. So we're going to do a double comparison. If that's the case, sets country flag. Demands Corvée labor soon. Theoretically, if we wanted to be more code efficient, I'm still getting used to the fact that we have else now. So if this is true, do this. Otherwise, do... All right, so if we want to be more code efficient, we do it like this. So now it is nested in here. And then we check, oops, so for instance, surf weight against Corvée weight, special taxes weight. Privilege demand, Corvée labor soon. So privilege demands surf soon. And then else. Now actually, does this work? It should work. So if this is true, do this, but if it isn't true, then check surf weight to see if it is bigger than the either of those two. If it is not, then move on to loans. But let's just do loans first. Okay. And then else again. Loans. Else. Now we do one more. Actually, we don't need to check again because it's the last one. So all we really have to do is, if they try this and this, something is missing here. Petreo, because I'm not the one that named it. Why is pop pulse fire lowercase? What I've experienced is, instead of my lovely Habsburg children becoming the rulers of the entire country, or being the rulers, the entire country is inherited by another country with the same dynasty, even if they themselves have no RM. Yeah, no idea what's going on there, Cowboy Dang. Someone else on the team might have a better understanding of all the dynastic stuff. Okay. Yeah, Trastamara and the whole Castile thing is screwy. Trying to get it properly fixed for a long time. It behaves a lot of aberrant in a lot of aberrant ways. Privilege GN. Let me get this. If it's check variable which equals no, it's a better way to do this. So what I do is I don't want these calculations to be done at all if none of these weights are at least 1. Actually, is that logically necessary? Because, yeah, it could be logically necessary because some of these could be less than 1, and I don't want that added to, yeah, I actually don't want that added to the total weight. Demands surfs. I'm setting these flags to trigger the demands when if just think this through. Okay, if need more money in Corvée available, then plus weight. Okay, I'm going through the logic of this. We're working on the weight which determines whether a privilege is given out to the greater nobles. Um, last resort, I don't know. I don't know too much about. I haven't gotten into that whole Civil War thing because I try to stay focused on the pop ends as opposed to local flavor stuff. So I wouldn't be the guy to ask about that. I think that's how it's supposed to work, Kukumaro. Yeah, I think it already is supposed to work that way. So we're still in all of the positive weights here. Okay, if limit yin Corvée weight is this and this, what I can do first off is I can ask if limits, oops, any of these criteria, if any one of these criteria are true, then I'll do the calculations. Well, easier way to do this. Check variable which equals loop of 1. Close brackets. All right, so I need any one of these values to at least equal 1, and then it will do the calculations. Serfs. There. Because if the country's in great shape and isn't in debt, it shouldn't be weighing on whether a privilege should be administered at all. But once it does, had an option like Granada and Nixus Castile. Yeah, last resort. That's not the type of. That's not really AI stuff, actually. It's local flavor stuff. And most of my AI work pertains to pop-related things, integrating population features into AI decision making. Yeah. Yeah, don't be ashamed to ask or anything, obviously. Okay, so and then change. So there's a battle between those 3 demands. Whichever one has the highest weight will end up informing whether to give out a privilege. So, where is that value? Oops. This is a lot of stuff. Learn to hand out privileges. Okay, so GN privilege weight. Which equals, let's organize this better so it's prettier. There. So if Corvée weight beats out the other 2 rivals, then their weight gets added to the variable which determines whether we give out privileges. But if this is not true, then we default to this option, which then checks to see if special taxes beats out the other 2. If that's the case, we have a repeat, but instead of with this variable, we use this one. And then if that's not true, then we can presume that the serf weight is the biggest. And so therefore we add that weight. instead. The AI gets a special casus bellum to unify the nation. It takes cores instead of leading the AI to truce, breaking and being bankrupt. Yeah. Probably true, but again, if you want to go on the forum and bring this up with Gigal, it's technically his domain. There's this thing on the team where we try not to step on each other's toes, because even if Gigal wouldn't be offended with me going into his events and changing stuff, it would still make confusing situations, right? Because you would expect what would happen is I would change something, and then he might not necessarily know exactly what I changed. My code syntax might be different, you know. So I'm not gonna change any of his stuff. I think as much as I want to see it resolved, it's something that he's gonna have to resolve himself. Okay. How high can these variables get exactly? Surf weight. I guess it starts low. Privilege, GN special taxes. They gotta be pretty crap to get high here. 3, 4, 5. Okay. We need this not to be relevant. We don't want this to be checked unless loyalty is between this interval here. Because we don't want privileges to be handed out willy-nilly if the estate already has good loyalty. So we just want to maybe just add an exclusionary factor in here for all of these. Right, so loyalty has to be between 0.31 and 0.55. Otherwise, they can just hand out the privilege without even having to make the hand out the. They can use the demand without handing out privileges. Okay. Yeah, converting CK2 to MT would just have some pretty oops. Go away. Okay, there. Would be total chaos. The world would look nothing like it's supposed to look like. Okay. So this should set flag, privilege and weight. All right. So I think we got all of the positives here. All of the things which will add positive weight to the consideration. Now, let's do a little testing. Before we continue constructing the AI analysis, we want to make sure that the variables which are being calculated. Close all of our brackets, are doing so properly. Okay. I fucked up somewhere. Here we go. And make sure all of our brackets are closed so we don't have parsing issues. Missing one. Where am I? No. That's right. Okay. Let's test it. I'm just browsing through the team Slack right now. Okay, time to test. So let's find some place with no place with really yucky unrest anywhere. Let's and let's go ahead and make sure our country gets emotions. Alright, so we fired the emotion event. We haven't pegged this to any kind of census yet, so I don't think it's going to be firing on its own yet. And Luke's, let's make sure that they are properly emotional. I'm not seeing it. Emotion, self-conscious. Okay, they're self-conscious. Good. As they should be. Okay, so now that we know that they're self-conscious, we know that this should work. Let's do a quick review. So first off, every country, crap. Actually, so every country, no, it's not. I made a mistake. This all relates to fighting corruption, but I've encased all of my other stuff with it. So all of my decentralization for stability, all of my gift privileges, I can't do that because they're mutually exclusive. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. Lazy way is just to do this. And then check every country again. Exists equals yes. Except it needs a limit, obviously. Last resort. You wait a while. 5 years. Yeah, in TK2, I feel like 100 years, and it tends to follow the usual course. Like, okay, I have breakout strength. There's no coalitions or anything, so no one can stop me. So it's just a matter of blobbing. Then I take the papacy, and then, you know, then I can get the Pope to do whatever I want. Every country which exists. And decisions relating to faith, giving privileges, demanding support, and offering favors. Civility, giving privileges, demanding support, offering favors. This is the giving privilege part. Let's do a quick review. Give privileges to GN. Well, you can't if you're shameful. I'm missing something. I guess not. We haven't added the negatives yet. We'll have to add those. Emotion shameful. Stay greater than level 8. Can't be bad loyalty. Has to be a sufficient size. It'll be determined by this weight. Yeah, Neoliner, it is possible, but you can't directly influence AI behavior much with vanilla. So if you want to equalize the playing field, you would need a new colonization system that didn't involve directly sending out colonists, or you would have estates attempt to colonize. So like the Hidalgos, for instance, of Spain, just kind of going to the New World on their own and conquering everything without, the Crown of France really noticing. And not the Crown of France, but the Crown of Spain. LP campaign? What do you mean by LP campaign? Okay, so anyway, back on task. If loyalty is bad, increase weight, so that would increase the weight. Can't do it more than the max of 4. I can't add more than the max of 4. That may be subject to change later. If stability is bad, it'll ultimately add up to 4 max. If they don't have any privileges, they are significantly encouraged to give out privileges if necessary. And let's play Granada. Yeah, I saw it. It was pretty interesting. Although he has the copy where early on big countries have a high probability of going bankrupt, so Castile just turned into a bankrupting basket case. Yeah, last resort. I mean, AI missions, I don't know. They're a little bit squishy. I hate not having direct control over programming the AI, which is why, I'm doing AI this way, right? This is more closely. If we had, EU4 source quote code, this would be more like the kind of AI programming you'd be doing, I suspect. Okay, so flattened. Okay, so there's three major things, base things, that are done to add up a positive for giving out privileges. I do wonder if it should be higher. We can add things in later. Oh, I know. Um, if has province flag equals great predator. Yeah. Yes. And not province flag, but country flag. There's lots of other little things we can add in here. You can also add in AI personality checks, all kinds of stuff. Then change variable, which equals where is it? Giveaway. Three for now. I know we need freeholders. That's actually a Bashar tag. That's a game I would really look forward to playing, turning like, a medium-sized Western or Central European country into like a peasant republic or something. It would ideally be very difficult to do, but it would still be an interesting objective that, while it wouldn't necessarily be a power game move, would be fun to try to achieve, and then possibly maybe give some other casus belli where you might try to convert the nobility of other countries. So that would be cool. So spread sort of got an early revolutionary kind of attitude. Um, Costa, you would promote your lesser nobles to get favors. If your stability is low and you need loyalty, and you don't want to give out privileges, you can just promote your lesser nobles to greater nobles, and you get stuff. Right? Yeah, Bashar Teg. Freeholders, you wouldn't be able to request specific favors from them, um, but are ultimately easier to control, and they. Here's the thing. Like I said before in my stream last night, freeholders aren't gonna have much meaning until the state events are in the game, because estates are gonna, once they have events, they're gonna be doing all kinds of things outside of what you might want them to do. They're gonna pursue their own agenda um, through events, and they're actually going to have their own version of monarch points that they're going to use to project their influence across the world, right? If you have freeholders, you don't have to worry about them squandering money or fighting amongst themselves or causing, problems with neighboring countries and stuff like that. Yeah, Parliament would be like I would imagine like a lesser noble type of thing, right? Like House of Commons. Who wants to be moderator, by the way, while we're here? Okay. Oops. Trying it there. Okay, so if Great Predator, add some weight. I need a face I'm more familiar with. Maybe this guy. I'm giving it to Cowboy Dang since I recognize him. Actually, Petreo. I know. It's between Petreo and Cowboy Ding since they're here a lot. All right. So, Cowboy Ding, if it's 1 to 10, it's you. Petreo, if it's 11 to 20, it's you. Or actually, with the understanding that it'll only be for streams like this time. Me too. I'll just stick with Cowboy Ding and Petreo. Okay. Those are the names I have seen frequently. All right, let me get my dice warmed up here. All right, ready? Okay, Cowboy Ding, you are 10. All this inversion here is confusing me. You are 1 to 10. Cowboy Ding, Petreo, 11 to 20. 12. Okay. Petreo it is. Congratulations. Okay. So my loyalty with Petreo has just gone up by 10. Yeah, right. You win responsibilities. Yay! Unpaid intern. Yay! You can put this on your resume. Okay. All right. So after that, we then have here, because great predators are on a genocidal rampage, they need to leverage as much from their estates toward that goal as possible. Next few code blocks relate to how demands influence the need to take privileges. Council of Streaming Safety. The Reign of Terror begins. What have I done? Infertile, greedy, fat. Don't forget a cleft lip and a double chin and clubbed foot. Okay, so we should be good here. I guess I need to reload. How many loans do we have? When was the last time? Damn. That's right. Well, this isn't the best country to do it with. Let's go back in time a bit. NGAP. Yeah, Petreo, make sure you get, you assign a spy master, economy minister, find a suitable wife, but also, of course, a homosexual mistress. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and yeah, Cowboy. What I'd love to do is assembling my SS. Yeah, Cowboy. A multiplayer game is what I'd like to do, and possibly Yep, multiplayer Let's Play. I get dibs on Granada. you guys can take whatever else. I was thinking something big though, like 10 to 15 players. And since we have, a reasonable audience, who wants to be the eunuch? A Mistor. I guess so, Bashar. What was I saying? Something about okay, so we got loans. Let's gimp our stability here. No, I don't want to increase it. Stability, -3. There. Whoever participates in the multiplayer would need a sufficient connection and computer though, because we'd want like maybe 10 to 15 people all playing in Europe, so it's nice and competitive. So there's lots of people for me to kill. I mean, for lots of people to mutually prosper with. I absolutely have no reputation in my multiplayer games for being a ravaging genocidal maniac. Yeah, the Netherlands have always had serious OP issues. A Benjamin, that would be a question for Gigao. He actually talked about it in his talk at PDocsCon. If we ever get that. Of course, Demian knows best. When is what going live, Bionic, the mod? It's like midway through June. Kind of trying to get it in shape, get all the issues resolved. Okay. Of this year, Freud. The actual release. In the spirit of honesty, though, it's still going to be incomplete because it's a mod. That's the nature of a mod. It's never complete. So it's going to be, instead of being 1.99, it's going to be 1.999. All right, so let's divvy up some motions. And then we're going to divvy up actually, let me make sure of something real quick. Most of this is supposed to be for AI only. But let me take this. Works pretty well, Panthera. We're fixing stuff. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Let's verify that we have. Oops. Yeah, sure, whatever. Thanks, great. Oops. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Just make sure our motions are assigned. Fired it. Emotion, self-conscious, and is this indeed the Mamluks? Yes, it is. Okay, so it worked. I am self-conscious. Now I need to go ahead and fire. No, and there's a parsing error someplace. And if you don't see the options, that means the code block was closed before. Okay, this is annoying, but necessary. Okay, that bracket's closed. Okay, somewhere along this line, something was not closed. Well, that's obvious, isn't it? Boom. Technically. Okay. So this bracket closes all the way up. Should be right here, but doesn't. So where the hell is this? Where the hell is this closure? It closes. Oh, so this closes the immediate, and that closes. So that's right. Okay, that's good. Benjamin, there are currently no culture modifications, not very many. I mean, there's some ideas in the future. We're kind of holding out for better tools before we go down that road, because it's pretty calc intensive for what we have. I would have to figure that out, Peter. Thing is, at night is the easiest time for me, obviously, because kids go down. I have about 3 hours to play, and I'd like to do it, not just once a week, but maybe 3 times a week or something until we get through it. I don't really know. Or theoretically, you could try and do it on the weekend, but I tend to have more family stuff on the weekends. Okay, catching up with comments here. Demian, have you considered changing the effects of corruption? It being basically inflation for monarch points seems off. What else would you expect it to be, Christopher? That's fixed, James, and there's some. The Ottomans declaring is fixed, and then also the Ottomans have been nerfed a bit. Not nerfed, but just slowed down. Is there a way to hide the players trading in the zone, only displaying the top 10 nations in the trade zone? I wish. Yeah, it's annoying. I'm not sure that there's a way. Yay, no more parsing error. So let's go ahead and save again, and then see if all of our all of our variables calculate properly. I'm going to move this over here, and then stick the save game in the main screen here. Okay, so the variables I'm looking for to verify our, let's see, first off, privilege GN give weights. It should all be down here. Privilege GN give weight. Well, that's bullshit. Something's broken. Okay. What is wrong? Why is it not calculating properly? So now, if loyalty is bad, increase weight. So I start at 0 weight. If okay, I'm a little confused. So let's come back in here. This is the fight corruption stuff. Let's take greater than the void share. So if this is true, then start setting variables. What is the current loyalty of greater nobles? Okay, so no wonder. Basically, I have way too many greater, or I have way too much loyalty with the greater nobles. Let's demote them real quickly. Darn, I need them to hate me more to properly calculate here. Well, maybe it was calculating properly. Let's see. I'm gonna do this real quick to piss them off, improve surf conditions. I'm gonna go into observer mode. I know how I can make them hate me, but first I want to see if my code is right. So this wasn't true. Oh wait, or was it? No, yeah, so this didn't really end up coming into effect because loyalty was too high, right? And stability was -1, so it changed by 1. If not many privileges, then change. The problem is, right, I did already have tons of privileges, so this didn't take effect. And Mamluks were not a great predator, so this didn't take effect. In other words, Mamluks are a horrible example to test this premise. In fact, Ottomans are probably a good way to test this premise, because they don't have many privileges, and they also have low loyalty. Let's try this. Slow the game. Oops. Okay, Ottos, what did you end up with? Are you emotional? No, of course you're not emotional, because you are relatively uncorrupt. What is your corruption anyway? Let's see. Okay, bring up my privilege calculations. Good grief. Global AI decisions. Privilege GN give weight. That's what we're looking for. Privilege GN give weight. Really, that's it? 3? All right, let's look at the conditions then of the Mamluks. not the Mameluki Ottomans. So they're not shameful. They have enough weight share, I think, for sure. And their loyalty is not below 30. This. Oh no, this is not. What am I thinking? It's not weight share I should be checking here, it's loyalty. Either way, this is going to register. There's a code problem. Loyalty. Greater Nobles loyalty. Okay. Set variable to 1 if it's between either of these. And then divide by the Greater Nobles loyalty. Something ain't right here. Let's see. Let me do my mathing here on my calculator. So I should have gotten 0.36. I should have gotten 2.77 added to the weight due to their current loyalty. So why didn't that happen is the question. Oh, wait, maybe did I add them properly down here? Okay, do some investigating. Now that should be added immediately, but I didn't, did I? No, I didn't. I don't think. Yeah, so that was dumb of me. Change variable which equals not loyalty weight, but give weight, and then I'm gonna. At the end of this calculation, I'm going to then take this variable and then add it to privilege GN give weight. Derp. Okay. All right. And this is why you always check and test everything that you write, because it's guaranteed that it's not going to be bug free, unless you're like really lucky, or I guess some kind of savant. If not many privileges, then wait. What? Loyalty weight? What the hell? What was I thinking? Apparently I was just tired last night or something. Right, so again, I failed to, I calculated all of the pertinent variables, but then I didn't add it into the aggregated variable, and so it wasn't registering. They were just kind of dangling out there and not informing the actual event the way it was supposed to. So then we do the same thing. Add more to the, add more to the weight. Good. If great predator, add 2 weights. And then if any of this stuff is true, add 2 weight as well. go ahead and read the comments while I'm loading. Banter, banter, banter. Okay. We save, then we open. Yeah, I mean, do you think 40 loyalty loss for lesser nobles is too much? Sort of, kind of, but not really. And if it's working the way it's supposed to. Here, let me elaborate. Let's go to Granada. I think they have a more even distribution. So let's say I demote now. Jesus. It didn't list it though. Why didn't it list it? Why didn't it list how much it was gonna hurt? It's supposed to. So the loyalty hit that you take the lesser nobles is proportional to the difference between the lesser nobles and the greater nobles. So if your greater nobles are huge relative to the lesser nobles, then there's a massive loyalty hit. But if loyalty is, because think of it this way, all those nobles that you just demoted got shunted into lesser nobles, and they're super pissed, right? But if you already have a lot of lesser nobles that are there, and they're not the ones who got demoted, then proportionally there's less loyalty loss. So, but let me figure out why it's not listing. If it's so, yeah, I think it's still giving 40. Something is bugged. It shouldn't be. That is buggy, and not just that, but so for instance, see, this is like, oh look, gain loyalty, gain stability, but demote. Oh no, it does show it. Derp. Okay, so the only thing we have to figure out is why. Okay, thanks for pointing that out. There is something buggy here. It should be 10 and 20, not 10 and 39, because the difference, there's only a magnitude of difference of 2. Okay, where the hell is that interaction? Somewhere in state interactions, I presume. Something ain't right. Here, I know. Let's check England. England has pretty shitty. Oh, of all, I shouldn't be able to do this. I need to set a proper. As it looks like a couple things I have to do here. Actually, 40 may be accurate after all. That's right, because it's always 10 loyalty loss for the greater nobles, because the ones that are left are kind of like, ew, yucky, why'd you do that? But so you can see here, it's not such a big deal. So no, I think actually the 40 is appropriate. I think that's the appropriate amount. It's just that if you have craptastic lesser nobles anyway, then what's 40 loyalty? It's not that big of a deal. It'll be a pain to bring it up, but Makes sense. Right, see, so because greater nobles are so small relative to the lesser nobles, you're promoting a huge number of lesser nobles and creating new greater nobles out of it. So you get tons of loyalty, tons of stability points, but it'll end up giving you a significant number of greater nobles. Good thing to do in an emergency. But there is something I still need to do here, and that is I need to make sure you can't take demotion or promotion if loyalty and stability is too low. So where would that be? That would be in the estate files. Estate effects. Nobility. Yank this over here real quick. Lesser nobles, greater nobles. Demote nobles. Trigger is not at war. Alright, so we do not have enough triggers here. So not only do you need to not be at, you can't be at war, but I'll make sure that estate loyalty is at a sufficient value. I'll need a custom trigger tooltip for that too. Yuck. Yeah, so Bryce, your question is, shouldn't it be best to demote nobles when they are disloyal but have high stability? Theoretically, once we have hostile revocation system, a perfectly viable strategy will be to demote your nobles into revolts and then intentionally confront them to strip away titles and privileges. Cole, I think that's already, I thought that was already the case. Maybe not. Yeah. See, it's here in the tooltip. In these other triggers. And stability must be at least 1. See, so when you there's a variable for both promote and demote nobles. You can only promote or demote nobles one at a time, and then you have to wait 5 years before you can do it again. It might even be 10 years. So for instance, watch. I'm gonna promote. I can't. Why not? You cannot promote as nobles if you have already done so within the past 10 years. It is 10 years. I need a second custom tooltip here, though, for this and this. And it probably needs to be up here. And I'll have to do it with lesser nobles. Well, no, I don't need to do it with lesser nobles, because promoting should be done whenever. Oops. Up, yeah. First, freeze all privileges. Okay, so promote, demote nobles, stab, loyal. We're gonna make a new tooltip here. We're gonna find the old one, and then we just put the new one right next to the old one. what this does here, custom trigger tooltip, is it gives you a localization for when you mouse over the thing. See, and so for instance, you can see right there, months remaining, 120. The way I actually got that to work is I basically embedded a variable display in the localization to make it look like a true ticker, and then the monthly pulse registers whether a country has the variable delete, and then removes one at a time, so that you then get the effect of a counter on a monthly basis. That's a clever little hack. Right, so we can see. You can see right here, you cannot demote blah 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 blah, and here's the ticker that I installed. What was the name here again? There we go. You cannot demote nobles if how about this? Must have. We want to get rid of the ticker here. Must have one stability and 31 loyalty with the grand nobles. And so if we want it to be more pronounced, we can, for instance, we can wrap it up in colors. So you can see here, we're going to make the number 1 green, and we are going to make loyalty green. And we're going to save. And we are going to test out that localization and those restrictions. Hey, Mega. Fixing a few bugs, Mega. A few things people noticed. We're shaping up promote and demote nobles because there were a few problems there. You could revoke, or you could demote nobles when you had like horrible loyalty and like -3 stability, and that's a problem. I think, and the greater nobles must not be disloyal. Okay. Although that's still, it's less what you say sounds better, Peter, but is less descriptive. Some people might say disloyal. Does that mean 15 loyalty? Does that mean 0? Does it mean 30? So. What time is it? Time is. Yeah, how did you abuse the shit out of the nobles, Mega? Doing what I said right here. Intentionally drive your stability down and loyalty down, and then just bonk. Okay, so now. Oh no, we cannot demote. But why not? Oh, whoops. Greater nobles can be very useful. Once we properly get estate events in, though, they're going to be very bossy. I can't wait to work on that, actually. Well, before I started really getting into India and such, which resulted in several provinces being controlled by greater nobles. Lesser nobles are supposed to approach you on a regular basis and demand the promotion. Have people been seeing that? Has it been working properly? Huh, never seen it? Huh. What happens is the lesser nobles, when they come to demand privileges, the more privileges they already have, the more likely they will demand a promotion instead of a privilege. So if you, yeah, the thing is they're usually so raped of having privileges that they usually have to build up enough privileges to then demand the promotion. Right. So, and since the lesser nobles are the easiest to beat up on, it's not a big deal. Yeah. That's going to take some tuning as well, I suspect. Okay, so yep, now we can do it because we have enough loyalty. Okay, so let's see. Appears to be working properly. Mega, lesser nobles have no privileges. Have they been asking for them fast enough? I wonder. Bryce, yeah, go ahead and give me that screenshot if you'd like. I can't have interactions with my greater nobles. Right now, none of my estates have privileges. The question of how many question is how many of you guys save scum whenever you revoke privileges? Be honest. Because it's pretty easy to get your privileges down to nothing if all you do is load your game every time you lose the stability from it. How big is your country? Who would save scum when reloading the game takes 5 minutes? Yeah, that's true. So, but if you're mostly burgers and lesser nobles, so the thing is, I guess the thing is this. The question is how strong is your state estate? Because if your state estate is big relative to your estates, so pretty relatively big, Hispania. So you took Hispania and North Africa. Okay. Elysian, how many provinces? So when you're right now, there's no state corruption. So if you have a very strong state, then it's really easy to keep corruption down by revoking privileges, because you're supposed to be racking up corruption with the state and having to fight it. I'm surprised, Mega, that you haven't had more estates demanding privileges faster. How quickly do they demand privileges, Mega? I'm wondering if maybe that's broken. So, let me show you. Yeah, it seems appropriate in your case, Elysian, that you'd be able to conceivably revoke, all of the privileges because you should have a corrupt central government. Um, but in the case of Mega, that's different. Thanks, Ray. So here is the index event that pertains to assigning and firing privilege and corruption events. And so you can see as population goes up, privilege demand is supposed to go up as well. And then also, so for instance, greater nobles. Cowboy Dang, I think it should be working okay. $20 years, I think, but I think it's too easy to ignore all requests. A lot of those requests involve stability hits and loyalty hits, but too easy to ignore all requests. Yeah, may have to increase the pain there, although I don't know. What's your population at, Mega, and what year is it? Or I can increase the pain for having no privileges. Yeah, Cowboy, that was a while back, and I fiddled around with things. So let's take, for example, let's revoke a privilege peacefully here. Doesn't matter what we pick. No, I didn't want you to accept reforms. I wanted you to get angry. Let's try this again. 700 pops, so 7 million by 1467. Okay. I might increase the pain for not having any privileges, but the privilege demands. I guess, I'm trying to figure out. Oh wait, I think I know what one of the problems with Portugal might be. I think somebody decided to give them like hardly any privileges at game start. Let me see. And I don't know. They may have taken some since. I seem to have a good bit. Okay, so 700 population isn't a heck of a lot of population, so they're not going to be requesting very quickly. What was I going to look at? I was going to look at England's. Either way, I guess what I really need to do is get state corruption in the game properly. But 700 pop, you couldn't have conquered all of Iberia and ended up with 700 pop, right? I imagine you could only have some territory. Because all of Iberia is in the many millions. And you only have maybe 7 million? It's still pretty aggressive demotion. I'm trying to figure out how you kept your stability high enough. Save here. This is my Roman game. Jesus. Because there's other things that hit your stability, and I just could never keep my stability high enough to revoke enough privileges. I don't know how you managed to. If you're doing it once every, if you did 8, so let's get a sampling here. Let's just revoke one. See what we get. Unless the seed was broken somehow. Wait, why is it not firing? Is it waiting for the next? What? I'm confused. Great. Was it busted or something? Oh, David Bunk. Damn it, I think I just attempted that, right? I think it failed. Doesn't give the risk of a stab hit. It's just... No, I do not want you to generally accept reforms. I wonder if it's buggy again. Yeah, there is, and I'm certain about this, there really is an engine bug related to random seeds. And so if revoking privileges, it wasn't an issue when I fixed it, quote unquote, a while back. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was undone and everyone's just getting, oh, nobles generally accepts. If I get it again, it's going to be suspicious. Okay, David Bunk, let's fix that bug first, really fast, so we do not forget it. It's funny that you mentioned it the second I checked. The second I did it. Interactions. It's going to be lesser noble revocation. Levy obligations. Yield tax. It's supposed to set a flag, if I recall. Yep, pain signal. It's missing, I think. Yep. That's probably the issue. Let's see if it's missing anywhere else. Does not appear to be the case. Okay, bug fixed. Now let's see if we have another bug here. Really hope this engine bug is still not a thing. It's gonna really, really suck. Okay, so I'm doing it on a different month. At the end of the month, it fires. Furious. Yay! They're furious! That means it's not bugged. But let's see now. So 75, 50, 50. So only one. Okay, so it's right. We're good. Yeah, Ethan, I'm not sure if trade posts or bugs was something that someone else was working on. One thing we need is for the dangers of low stability to be much more pronounced. So I think between state corruption being added in, ancillary events that result in a combination of corruption and low stability, and then possibly increase the pain of having. I didn't document any of this. I'm going to increase the pain of requests a bit. I'm going to increase the stability cost. Oops, slightly. Or the chance of getting a stability hit. Oh, wait. Okay. 60 stability. 60 stability. Okay. What was not happening? Let's see. Oh, the trade post. Yeah, I don't know. 1% chance to lose 6 stability. Yeah, fire Kahuna. Some more meaningful benefit for stability would be nice. First off, more pain for low stability. So one of the big problems now is unrest is just not that big of a deal, right? If unrest were a bigger deal, stability would be a bigger deal. What we want to have is some events that can roll through when your stability is low, that can then deepen the crisis of having low stability, and then really give you some opportunity to really have some bad unrest and stuff like that. Yeah, it does seem like there just needs to be more related to stability, especially just like improvements to legitimacy and stuff like that. Maybe stab, increase, decrease CE? No, because it already gives you better autonomy change, which is functionally the same thing. Yeah, this is something I'd have to run by. Anything here is, talking about changes in stability, I'd need to run by Malorn. I'm not. I mean, it would kind of be cool if you had better idea cost or tech cost or something like that to make stability truly meaningful. Yeah, so Ethan, that's what I was thinking, actually, also. So the idea is what I would like to have, we have an issue with states right now. And the issue is that states just aren't really powerful enough because you have to pay a lot of maintenance on them. But if we have events that roll through that slam the country when their stability is low, or when they're significantly corrupt, and then you have those events only targeting unaccepted cultures and territories, right? And so what that means is that the provinces which feel most disconnected from your country or empire, they're the ones that can have these sort of waves of nationalism when your country is in a vulnerable condition with low stability, or if the administration is extremely corrupt, because the war cry will be, hey, we don't want to be governed by a decadent, corrupt person who is way far away in a capital on the other side of the ocean or something. Mega, the first part of that is true already. Fix that part. Yes, disloyal estates should hurt. At the moment, they don't. And that's true too. Thomas Watson, love the stream. Just keep up amazing work. Thanks. Best way to improve development, urbanization, baby. Urbanize, and that's gonna also bootstrap your That's gonna boot. You know, you have to be discreet about what you conquer. So if you conquer low development places, you're kind of lowering your development. All right. Well, so Mega. Let's talk about states again. There's the question of adding more penalties in. Can make them come at you faster when you have fewer of them. So if you want to stay at 0 privileges, then it becomes a never-ending battle. No, that's a give LN 0.1 autonomy. No, then you have no incentive to demote, right? There needs to be that disparity. Otherwise, it's like it's like a difference of only 2 CE levels. There needs to be a pertinent reason to actually want to demote your lesser nobles. And if all you're getting is some measly bit of autonomy, then there's not really much of a point to begin with. Lesser nobles are supposed to be manageable. That's the whole point. James, yes, they scale with autonomy. Yeah, greater nobles give 2.5. Lesser nobles give, so it's a difference of Excel. It was originally 0.35, but then it got nerfed by somebody else. I would do autonomy pretty differently if it was purely up to me. I only have so much levity. Yeah, 0.15 autonomy is not very much autonomy when you consider how big the disparity is between when it comes to CE, right? CE levels, there's like the difference between the best CE level and worst CE level is like 100%, right? So, well, let's figure out this issue before I get on to other questions. So first thing, we need to add an unrest, significant chance of unrest when you deny an estate of privilege when they come asking. Then we need those corruption events, I think. So we need rebels to be a thing when you actually piss off the nobles. Let's go ahead and do that. So I got to refamiliarize with code here. So this determines when you get those events that pop up that say, oh, estate demands privileges or whatever. This is where it determines what you end up getting, right? Then it fires this event over here. And then does all the calculations. If limit has country flag, GN hit the loyalty, then it hits loyalty. If it has hit the legitimacy, it hits legitimacy, hit the prestige, hit the military, hit the stability, hit the military, autonomy, and this is where we're going to add in unrest. If limits as country flag equals GN unrest, then we're going to make a little then we have the effect in. Let me try and remember how I did this here. It has to set the table. Okay, we'll have 3 levels of modifiers. We'll do it that way. Let me pull up the pertinent modifier list. Demian, maybe put things like the old vanilla overextended events over 100% as. No, well, yeah, I mean that's the idea, but I'd like to make it. I don't just want to suck out vanilla events because they don't scale, they're unbalanced. No. Oh, where whole culture groups gain unrest. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll look at those events for inspiration. Yeah, that's the idea, Mega. So if you have really strong lesser nobles, and you say screw you, there's a 60% chance. So for instance, you'll see right. Where is it? 60% chance, right? So it's on par with the stability hit. So every time you may not get it, but 60% of the time you will. So theoretically, you could get some really, really painful hits. There. It doesn't matter, Peter, it doesn't matter what your overextension is. So yeah, but Mega VHS, that's what I'm doing right now with Unrest. What you're suggesting. It happens 60% of the time you'll be confronted with it, as opposed to just every single time. And then we have a random list, and then we'll make another random list like this, where there's sort of scaling in severity, and then we'll want to kind of make copies elsewhere. So we don't want to set a variable. Thanks, Con. That's an interesting idea, Mega. Oh, aside from just adding, we can add instant unrest, right? Theoretically, I'm not sure how you do that. Because it would be nice to have like, boom, some more instant outbreaks, But yeah, we can go simple for now. Yeah, a little complicated. So, set country flag. GN unrest. Rights. Unrest. Kind of whatever. significant. This is unnecessary. Just kind of dumb of me. I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's setting a flag. And then in the penalties section, we're going to use these flags to then assign the modifier in question. So resist. So it'll go down here. If limits has country flag GN unrest. Oops. Then where'd it go? Oh god, so much code. Oh my god, this happens a lot. You get lost in your code. Oh god, I lost my code. Where am I? Here I am. So now we just do a bunch of checks. As country modifier equals. Then add country, oh no. Then, excuse me. Shit. This might be better as a scripted effect, but we'll just keep it in here. This needs to be hidden from the player. Hidden effects. If limit has this, every owns province, which has province flag equals greater Knowles control province. Add province modifier equals GN unrest province unrest 1. Oops. Name duration 3650 years, maybe. People are saying stuff. Let's see. Shouldn't moderate and those will be the other way around. Yeah, I removed them. It is too easy for nationalists, separatists, but harsh treatment for religious rebels. It's just impossible to maintain if you want any sort of tech. Yeah, we may fire. People have made that complaint a lot about tolerance in the religious track. We may need to make some triage fixes in Degracia in that regard. We're not going to release MNT 2.0 on Steam today, I don't think. Yeah, I got delayed. I think Giga said blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's continue. So we're hiding this effect here because the way it'll actually show up in-game practically when you fire the event is it'll be spammy, spammy, spammy. It'll show every single province that ends up getting the modifier. So instead, what we need is a custom tooltip, which is going to tell, which will make it look like an official effect when in fact it's just a tooltip. So, and we'll just call it the same thing here. Nice and simple. Now we make the 5 brackets that we had before. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. Oops, my bad. This custom tooltip. Frac. I didn't think this through. The hidden effect, okay, hidden effect needs to be inside of each one. So we want, if this is true, right, if you have GN unrest 1, we want custom tooltip GN unrest 1 to show up, but then we want to hide this effect here. Hidden effects. So you won't see this, which will completely clutter up your interface, but you will see this, which won't. There, let's try this again. And I would change them all. You can see how much of a pain in the ass it is just to get one of these apparently innocuous effects. Yeah, it's a bit of busy work, but it's worth it from a game balance perspective. Yeah, Cowboy, I'm wondering if we should go instant unrest or modifier. You can see we have modifier here. Maybe we can do both. I don't know. I'm not sure about the balance issue. Let's see what kind of effects we have at our disposal here. So we can see effects. Unrest. Add unrest. I don't know what that means though. Like, is it what scope is this even in? Is this country scope? I don't know what province effects. Okay, so we add unrest in that province, but how does that? Yeah, so that's a province scope. Is there a country scope unrest? But no, we want it in the provinces. So, well, when you add unrest to say, of course, there's no unrest right now, so it's hard to tell. But if you were to suddenly click it and it was added to every lesser noble province, how would that influence the total rebel uptick? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Well, we can always do a mix of modifier and, let's try this. First off, let's get this under control. Okay, so we need to add rebels. We need to add modifiers. State modifier is greater noble. Just add these. Yeah, as you can see, we don't have enough modifiers. We probably need more. Okay, so name of the modifiers in question will be this. What's it called? Local unrest now? It got changed up. -1. Local unrest. Yeah, local unrest. So low end will be 2. Make it a little more painful than that. Okay, we gotta do tooltips now. Let's see, state events. Let me find another tooltip and put it in the same file. Localization. Oh no, I wasn't looking for that. Should have some tooltips down here I can lump them in with. Yeah, okay. So what was the name of the tooltip I was going for? It was right here. Okay. Every province with the greater nobles will gain controlled by the greater nobles will gain 3 local unrest for 10 years. We want some color so that looks menacing. And we want to make sure we have the right numbers. Here, here, here. It was 5, was it? Yeah, 8, 12, 15. Yeah, 3 unrest is nothing. That's why it's the weakest option. The average is that you'll get is 8, right? There's a 10% chance you'll get +3, 20% chance +5, 40% plus 8. But that's the point, is it's supposed to be scaled. 15 is a lot, 3 is not. But 3 is just as likely as 15. Imbecile! Fool! Okay. I think this is... And then I need to remove any flags I set, I think. Why am I not removing a... Yeah, hidden effect CLR flag. So as soon as this gets checked, we got to remove the flag. Yeah, I don't know, True, why that would happen. That's a bug I still have to sort out. Shame. Shame. All my provinces with a port had this issue, what, where they would lose their estate. And loses the state, and then I have to give it back manually. It may have been something they added in 1.21. That's weird. So, but did it happen randomly or consistently? So, who's got a port? You have a port? Do you have a port? Yes, you do. Do you have an estate? No, you don't. I mean, technically they do, it's just not listed. And yeah, they appear to be port provinces that are the problem. Port. WTF, why is that? So if it happened in your capital, it's probably just because it had a port, is my guess. Well, we obviously have to fix that. Obviously here it does not have anything to do with autonomy. What is kicking the estate off though? Here, let's run the game for a while and see if it gets assigned with the pulse. The other thing, the estate is still there. Burgers, boom. The pulse reassigned. But you won't suffer the autonomy effects during that time. That's the only thing. David Bunk, CE calculations, yes. It probably is. It probably has to do with the distance calculations. Because of the distance hack. Yeah, so remember guys, all of this stuff is purely cosmetic. All of the flags that the system calculates off of still exists. So even with the bug, the estate is there in the province. It's still doing what it would normally do. But I mean, this bug obviously has to be fixed, but it's not as horrible as you think it might be. Let's test the CE hypothesis right now. Events. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning for the trade area is. Seems like it should be called Anatolia or something as opposed to Bosphorus. But anyway. We gotta pull up distance calculations. Travel time. Should do it. Yeah, I just realized your capital will also wipe estates too. If what I think is true, your capital will also wipe the estates because it does a distance calculation between your capital building and regional capitals. What? I know there is an event ID with that. Don't lie to me. It's right there. Yep. Okay, so it must be something that Paradox added in 1.21. And so now it's getting confused with the distance calculation. Okay, so fortunately we've got a dude who was going to help us with that. Someone made a new way to calculate distances. Which I need to integrate his stuff. I can't get a hold of him now. So we'll put that we'll put this problem off for now. Obviously we have a potential fix if we can just get rid of the old distance calculation, which is a hack, which is obviously causing all kinds of problems. So all right. Well, that answers that question. Let's get back to our unrest. Now let's make. It doesn't technically have to be GN province unrest. It could just be a general state angry. Oh, who's this? Who's this? Ah, it's the other one. Oh.
We have to leave it.
Stage fright. Okay.
I still have to feed them.
All right. I'll just gonna sort out this last little thing I'm adding. That was Maya, my youngest. And she levitates, obviously. Let's make different ones. Welcome to the busy work. Okay. Oh, we have to localize all of these too, of course. So let's find where we localize these, right? Because if we don't localize them, what you're going to see when you mouse over your unrest is GN province unrest. Okay. Oops. No. Deny creator nobles privileges. Do we want a description? Why not? The greater nobles are upset. that we recently denied them privileges and are contemplating and are agitating against your rule. We want to do this with lesser nobles as well. So all references of GN simply change to LN. All references of greater get changed to lesser. No! Stupid, it was supposed to be inside the selection. Frack. Here we go. So, replace in selection, GN, LN. In selection, greater, lesser. Now we do the same thing with burgers. LN, EG, and then lesser nobles, burgers. There. Now we've localized those modifiers. We have localized the tooltip. Might as well localize the future tooltips that we'll need for lesser nobles and greater nobles. BG, controlled by the burgers, by the lesser nobles. I think we're getting close to finally having this done. So this custom tooltip will show up localized. Province modifier will be added to every province. And then that province modifier will be localized. I think we're good. Now we just have to add all of this code to the other states as well. Damien, you can't go 3, 5, 8, 12. Is your OCD kicking in? Is that bothering you? Let's see, it goes from 2, so there's 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 3 again. 21 is a bit outrageous. It's arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. Do people really require banning in such a small niche Steam then? Yes. Yes, we do. Uh-oh, the Mongols are coming. I know, I'll be just a second. I should live on Twitch. I do plan on it eventually. Yeah, Jamie, ham and eggs, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. Oops. Is there provinces to be returned to its cores? Is there a way for provinces to be returned to its cores? Currently one can't because it's being controlled. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of annoying, but Sneaky. Find, replace. Lauren said in the forums that you should deal with it. Yeah, it would be nice to have an official workaround. Parallax may give us some tools. I already removed freeholders, Niels. Okay. So now let's make sure we. I'm going to open up a file off screen, and then I'm going to start copying pertinent code. First off, wait, crap, did I miss something up here too? No, I didn't. Yeah, corruption, unrest. Okay, so first off, I need this at the ends. Copy pasted that. Where's Ellie, by the way?
She's sleeping.
Still sleeping. That Benadryl really knocked her out.
Get her up. Okay.
Okay, don't get around me. I gotta finish this. Not gonna take that long, I promise.
Still gonna be there.
I know. Corruption. Resist. Yeah, I think we're good. I just gotta pull this right here. This line. Yes. Here we go. The farming efficiency map mode. We may have. Benadryl takes down the Mongols. Okay, let's see. Nobles. So military. LN autonomy demands. LN hit to admin. I'm missing something. I'm missing. I'm missing something in the base event, I think. No, I do. Okay, so I've set the. I believe I've set the flags. Yes, I did. We're good. Okay, gotta go. Before we head to the beach. Gotta go. Come on. Okay. Oops. Crap. Can't see what I'm doing off screen, but just getting everything aligned before I import hidden effects. Clear privilege demand flags. No, so it needs to be here. There. So this is the LN unrest, so I have to change all references of GN to LN. All 17 occurrences changed. Oh crap, I also need to change. Oops. All references of greater to lesser. That should do it. It'll work. Now we head to burgers and finish up the last leg of the journey. Dip hits, autonomy hits. If zero costs default to. Okay, so we should also have unrest here. Oops, crap. Go away. No, you made me lose my place. Stupid file. Okay, here we go. Boink. GN, PG, use repetitive code, that's fine. Then the reason why a lot of this is quite bulky is because the AI has to be trained along the way to set diagnostic variables, which then can inform their decision making. Going down. Commercial Havoc, good. This is the zone for the penalty. GN to PG. Greater Nobles to Burgers. Good idea. So to recap, today we have prioritized the revocation of state privileges and made them more brutal by adding unrest to all relevant provinces. No bubbles, no ponies. Worked a tiny bit, fixed a few other things. Also, worked a little more on the AI. $69 watching. Woo! I'm getting more subscribers. I'm still surprised that people are actually willing to watch this. Because obviously it's going to purge all of the people who just want to watch the game, so to speak. And so I'm doubtful that you can, really, I'm in a rush. I can't monologue right now. No speechifying. I gotta test this thing. Burger Crisis. It's such a pain in the ass to test. Event index for all estates. Actually, there's a ninja way to kind of test this. Let me see. This is the loyalty shift one. I need privilege pain modifier, privilege ticker greater nobles. Yeah, this should be it. So we're going to manipulate the ticker in this event down here that we're going to hijack. We're just going to straight up make it 40 so that next pulse of the estate event, it'll just automatically... Actually, I should just copy this whole thing. We'll have it immediately fire, and then we can test it super fast that way. Not always. Sometimes you have to build your events so that they can be tested, or build in diagnostic variables and things like that, because sometimes you'll write the super complicated thing, and you're like, by the time you're done, you have no idea whether it's working or not the way that you intended, and you could end up with a little line of code screwed up someplace that's skewing the whole thing, and you wouldn't know it unless you had a way to go in and follow the breadcrumbs. And sometimes you have to make your own variables or make a weak point that you can exploit. If Demian thinks he can't build a view base out of the modding people, I vehemently disagree. Whilst the streams are relatively depopulated, the views post-stream are pretty good. Yeah, it's true. I keep you in the background and come and say something once in a while. That works too. So I guess we'll see. Discount A. Boring. Yep. So boring. Uh-oh. You've gotten the moderator's attention. Yeah, is your like avatar thingy discount supposed to look like is it supposed to look like a troll face? Okay. this should work. Let's see. It would be great if it did. Do we have to roll the dice discount?
Whoops.
Yeah, we have moderators to get rid of douchebags. Hey, discount. You want to listen to some My Little Ponies Friendship is Magic music? Because that could be a sufficient way to ward away people who have troll-like tendencies. Oh, you banned them already? Ah, well. Better to be proactive, I guess. Teamwork. Yes, it is still the internet. No, I like the crowd we have right now very much. Everyone is polite and mutually supportive and nerdy, non-judgmental. I like it. Pew pew, headshot. That's true, Cowboy. Dang. Here, I'm gonna roll. We could have had to have made him moderator if we rolled a nat 1. But let's just, for academic purposes, let's see. Damn inversion. No. Definitely. Made the right choice. It was written. Okay, I gotta get through this. Wife is gonna start chomping at the bit. This is fun though, you know, I was under so much pressure before to mod. That just feels like sit down when I got the time, hang out with some friends. It feels great when I sit down, and it feels great when I get up, so it's, I like the way it's working currently. Alright, so now we need to fire that event to artificially increase these variables in question. And then that will spur, hopefully, air. Okay, now we're gonna force fire the corruption event. Okay. Yes, it works. We refuse. So I don't see. I do not see any unrest. The greater nobles will gain 22 autonomy. I do not see any unrest. And I don't see any unrest. Yeah, Elysian, the plagues slowly stop coming until about 1650. You guys suck. I know we do. Thank you. I didn't realize we sucked until you said so. Now my life has changed. I guess I should never aspire to anything since I suck. Since you've given me that immense insight into my character. Thank you. Thank you. I can finally tailor my expectations to my suckiness. Whoa, pissing everybody off here. Maybe I just got unlucky. Let's try the Ottomans. Trolls are famously individualistic. Asexual by necessity. Right? Those are really pretty, Grandmaster, thanks. No unrest. No unrest. No unrest. So what's the matter? What is the matter? Setting the country flag. Should work fine, but it is not working fine. Why isn't it working fine? Ellen, unrest. How about this? Yeah, whatever. We'll take it. We'll take it. Whatever. So we'll save. We're going to check the flags. BG unrest. Flag was set. The effect was not. Or was it? No, but I didn't accept it, so that was dumb. So let's find the bug. Okay. So what assigns? Then it went to the fourth event. Where is it? Here we go. If limit has country flag BG unrest, maybe. Ha! I know what it is. It's working fine. I just had the wrong tooltip, I think. Right. No, I didn't. What? Uh-oh. Now it should have. Custom tooltip BG unrest 1. That's what should show up. Custom tooltip BG unrest 1. That's what I had before, I believe. Right? Ah! And I have. Oh, I didn't get BG unrest 1. That's the problem. Yeah, let's go to the beach. Gotta fix. Yeah, we're gonna go to the beach, honey. Just hold on. Hey, the internet is watching. Can you say hi to the internet?
Hi.
Hi, internet.
The internet.
Unrest, random list, set country flag. Why wouldn't this work?
Okay,
Country
so
flag.
let's go put the cake in the car. You want to help me
GN
put the cake
unrest.
in the car?
Oh,
Come on, yeah. Let's go put the cake in the car.
I'm gonna go to the beach, I promise. I promise, guys. Now I'm panicking because I'm running out of time. I hate leaving things like this in the middle of production because it's a great way to really introduce bugs. Okay, Ellen unrest, it's there. So what's wrong? BG, do I have BG unrest? Yes, I do. Yeah, go get your swimming suit, okay? Almost done. What is wrong? We have the flag. Program at the beach. Bring it into the water with me. Have like, you know, like one of those dolphin float toys and I can like sit on the back of it and try to. Maybe the seagulls are like emitting Wi-Fi signals and I can just. God, I feel like it's right in front of me. It should be setting a flag right here. And then it should remove all the privileged, man, freaking A. And then the flag needs to be removed too, otherwise it'll keep adding that rest. Oh man. isn't it working? It's setting the flag, at which point it fires this event. And then as it's reading, it eventually gets to unrest. G and unrest. If has country flag, check this random list. When you do the math, that's 100%, so it should pick one of these flags. Why isn't it assigning one of those flags? Flopsy, that is a good idea. Or Flopsy, you could just finish it for me. Nah, not really. Yeah, Hans, I'm a programming noob who doesn't know what he's doing. So it's good for a laugh, obviously. All right. Well, obviously I'm not gonna fix this, so I just go to the beach after looking at it for just one more second, maybe. Maybe the issue is with the BG unrest. BG unrest. BG unrest 1. Fuck me. Why? All right, yeah. Beach beckons us all. I guess I just gotta give up, and I hate giving up. Hate it. Rage. Nerd rage. Where is it? This makes no. Okay, I'll come back to it with a clear head, and it'll probably just jump right out at me. So I'm gonna stop the stream now. See you later. Gonna go enjoy the beach. Come back with a nice, sexy tan. Later.